In the weeks following the fire, each time I went back to Perkins Canyon, the landscape grew more interesting. A month out, grass was poking up in the meadow. Almost every depression had a little patch of grass about 1 inch tall. Dozens of soap plant bulbs had sprouted, joined by the odd vetch and mustard. 2 weeks later, chamise, coffeeberry, and yerba santa were beginning to re-sprout. And, wouldn't you know it, some oily-looking poison oak. The charcoal beetles were long gone, replaced by woodpeckers called flickers, eating the larvae the beetles had stuffed into the trees. There was lots of other bird life, too. On one short walk, I saw or heard quail, juncos, killdeer, sparrows, scrub jays, black phoebes, mourning doves, acorn woodpeckers, oak titmice, a couple of vultures, and a red-tailed hawk. Before the fire, I often heard the song of wren tits hiding in dense chaparral, but had rarely seen the birds themselves. Now they were hopping around in plain sight in oaks and other shrubbery. In some ways, 2013 brought Mount Diablo the perfect fire. No lives were lost, no homes were torched, and mostly fire-hardy habitats like chaparral were hit. The fire's end-of-summer timing was excellent, too. Perkins Canyon was dry, so frogs, snakes, and amphibians had already headed underground. Birds weren't breeding or nesting. Plants were putting energy into their roots, not their leaves, as they do in the spring. This drier season not only gave those plants more oomph after the fire, it lessened the danger of a fire that produced steam, which could sterilize the soil. Still, we realized there could be drama ahead. The steep, bare slopes above Perkins Canyon were poised to erode in this winter's rains. I asked Ken, so what's going to happen on a slope like this?
Well, there's heavy rain. Mud is going to start moving down. There's rock right here. A lot of it's Franciscan, and the pillow basalt breaks down. There's a lot of clay in it, nice and sticky. And down it's going to flow, slowly in some spots and faster in others.
Our heads were full of questions. Would most of the big oaks survive? What fire-following flowers and shrubs would we see in the next couple of springs? How long would it take for the chaparral to recover? Were some soils sterilized by extreme temperatures? How much soil would be washed down from the steepest, barest slopes? We knew just from looking at places burned in the 1931 and 1977 fires that the mountain's flora and fauna were resilient. The species we'd seen in Perkins Canyon and their relative abundance might change, but we felt confident that the burned areas would eventually bounce back. At least those were our thoughts when we made this guide. With the benefit of time, you may be able to tell us whether we were right. We hope you've enjoyed this audio guide to the rocks, the fights, and the fire at Perkins Canyon. Have a great hike back. And when you have a chance, check out some of the other tours in the Audible Mount Diablo series. Thanks for listening.